What will be the price of any asset? This asset could be a company, a factory, a building, an apartment, a share, or a bond. This is equal to the present value of all future cash flows. So we need to get the present value for any amount of money we will receive in the future because of this asset. So, for example, if we have a stock or a share, what will be the price of this share? So every time you have a share, the company, when it makes profits, they will distribute dividends. Therefore, the price of a share will be equal to the present value of all future dividends. And that's why, based on this formula, we can have a model called dividend discount model. Get the first letter for each word, so it will be DDM. So what do you mean by the word discount? It means get the present value. What do you mean by dividend? So we need to get the present value of these future dividends, which will give us the share price. Therefore, we have different types of dividend discount model. Number one is a one-period dividend discount model, which means we will hold the share for only 1 year. So let's assume that our effective annual interest rate is 10%. And we have here only 1 year. After 1 year, we receive a dividend of $1, and then we will sell the share for $10. So can you tell me what will be the price today? So we need to use the present value of all future cash flow we receive, which means we need to get the present value of dividends after 1 year and the present value of the share price after 1 year. Therefore, which formula we're going to use? We will use the present value of single cash flow, which is present value equal future value divided by open bracket 1 plus interest rate close bracket to the power n. So we'll say that the price today is equal to dividend in year 1 plus the price in year 1 divided by open bracket 1 plus interest rate close bracket to the power 1. So let's substitute with the numbers. The price today at year 0 is equal to 1 plus 10, all of this divided by open bracket 1 plus 10% to the power 1. So this will give us $10 today. So this means that we could sell this share for $10 today, or this share is worth $10 today. Another type is 2-period DDM, which means we will hold the share for 2 periods. Let's assume that we have the same annual interest rate, which is 10% per annum. We have 2 years, year 0 and year 1. In year 1, we will get a dividend of $1. In year 2, we will get a dividend of $1. Then we will sell the share for $11.1 at the end of year 2. So in order to get the price of the share today, we need to get the present value of all future cash flow. So we need to get the present value of the dividend in year 1, the dividend in year 2, and the selling price in year 2. So we'll use the present value of single cash flow formula, which is present value equal to future value divided by open bracket 1 plus I close bracket to the power n. So how many times we will use the present value of single cash flow? We will use it twice. Why? Because we have 2-period dividend discount model. Therefore, our price today at time 0 equal to dividend 1 divided by open bracket 1 plus interest close bracket to the power 1 plus in year 2 we will have dividend plus we will sell the share, so we'll get the price divided by open bracket 1 plus I close bracket to the power 2. Let's substitute with numbers. So our price today is equal to dividend in year 1 is 1 divided by open bracket 1 plus interest rate of 10% close bracket to the power 1 plus in year 2 we'll get a dividend of 1 plus we will sell the share for a selling price of 11.1 divided by open bracket 1 plus 10% close bracket to the power 2. This will give us $10. Another example of dividend discount model is constant or zero gross dividend. So let's assume that we have an effective annual interest rate of 10% per annum, and then we have here in year 1 we receive a dividend of $1, and then it will continue forever. We'll receive every year $1 forever, and that's why we put here dots on the timeline. So what will be our formula? Since it will continue every year forever and we have the same cash flow, so we will use our ordinary perpetuity formula, which means the present value at time 0 is equal to the cash flow at year 1. Remember that there must be 1 year difference or 1 period difference, which means if my first cash flow is in year 1, my present value will be in a year before, which is year 0, divided by interest. So if I'd like to apply it here in dividend, so it says that the price today is equal to dividend at year 1, which means there is 1 period difference, divided by effective annual interest rate. So let's substitute in our example here. The price at time 0, which is today, is equal to the dividend in year 1, which is $1, divided by our effective annual interest rate of 10%. 10%. So this will give us the price of $10. So this will give us $10. Another example of dividend discount model is constant or zero gross dividend. So let's assume that we have an effective annual interest rate of 10% per annum, and then we have here in year 1 we receive a dividend of $1, and then it will continue forever. We'll receive every year $1 forever, and that's why we put here dots on the timeline. So what will be the price of Another example of dividend discount model is growing dividend. So, from its name, what do we mean by growing dividend? It means that the dividend will grow every year by a constant percentage. So let's assume that we have an effective annual interest rate of 10% per annum, and we have a gross rate of 2% per annum. So in year one, we will receive a dividend of $1, but every year this dividend will increase by 2% forever. And that's why I put dots, which means it will continue every year forever. And above the dots, I put 2%, which means it will grow every year by 2%. Therefore, if it will continue forever, so I know that we need to use the present value of perpetuity formula. If the cash flow will grow by a constant percentage, so we need to use growing perpetuity. So the present value today at time 0 is equal to the cash flow in year 1 divided by interest rate minus growth rate. So if we'd like to adjust the formula here for dividend, so I will say the price today, P0, is equal to dividend at year 1. By the way, you can use dividend or cash flow, they're the same, divided by I minus G. So let's substitute in our example here. The share price today at time 0 is equal to dividend in year 1, which is 1, divided by interest rate of 10% minus growth rate of 2%. So this will give us 1 divided by 8%, which is equal to $12.5.